fading out the music right now. I'm getting better at this, so we'll just have to see, right? I'm Dean Arnold. I'm running for Congress. This is my podcast, and today is June 6th. We're going to talk about June 6th-ish kind of things, and we're going to talk about a little bit about Chuck Fleischman today, who is my opponent in the District 3 Southeast Tennessee congressional race election November 3rd. I'm running as an independent. Chuck is a Republican. I've got a really interesting video of Chuck where he kind of gets unhinged. So we'll kind of watch that and talk about it. What else do I need to tell you about here? I'm bringing sanity to an insane world. That's one of my campaign slogans. And let's just go ahead and get right into the church calendar. Let's see if I'm getting better and better at this. I feel like I am. Okay. Scripture readings. Boom. There it is. Okay. So, scripture reading for today is Romans on the epistle side. Unfortunately, I'm in the of course I'm confused. But not for long. Romans. There we go. Now I just have to double check that you're seeing it as well. I believe you are. That's good. Okay. So it's the beginning of the book of Romans, which some of you newbies to Christianity and the Bible, Romans is like the definitive, like the book, like the Constitution of the New Testament, at least after you get past Gospels and Acts. It's Paul's very long book, but we're in chapter 1 here where he's like, hey, how you doing to everybody and all that kind of thing. And he says down in verse 10, this is just a little cosmic, philosophical, Calvinist, Arminian kind of, weird niche kind of comment. Verse 10, making request, if by some means now at last I may find a way in the will of God to come to you. Okay, so if it's the will of God, why is he trying to find a way? Because if it's the will of God for him not to come, then he just should not come. So why does he just say, I'm going to try to find a way to come? And he tacks in the will of God to come to you. What does that say for me? Well, I'm not a theologian, but I'm just going to give you my best crack at it. What it means to me is that this stuff is a mystery. It's all a mystery. Is God in control of everything, and ultimately only what happens is his will? Yeah. Are we supposed to really strive to accomplish things that we feel like we're supposed to accomplish, even if someone is out beating on my porch and they've been doing it for a long time and they need to end it? You guys probably can't hear it. We should I'm gonna go take a look because it's just kind of ticking me off. Okay. Mystery solved. I don't know who it is, but it's my backyard neighbors. I thought maybe it was my wife, but she's smarter than that. But as it kept going, I just had to keep doing it. So we got somebody doing carpentry work or something. Anyway, let's come back out of that if we can. Yeah. So it's a mystery. Yes, God's in control of it all, and we acknowledge that, and we know that, and there's some comfort in that. At the same time, you can't just sit around and say, well, everything's been determined and God's figured it all out and it's all predestined, so let's just whatever. Doesn't have anything to do with my will. So can't do that either. We have to strive to accomplish things. We have to strive to do the right thing. We have to strive to go where we feel like the goals God has implanted us in us need to take us. And somehow that needs to be choreographed in the will of God. If your goals are not in the will of God, well, that's not a good thing. You're probably not going to do too well. So strive, try to be in the will of God as you strive. Strive's kind of a bad word, and I mean it doesn't communicate good. As you achieve, and also as you have goals and ambitions and try to accomplish things, also realize that on the other hand, God's got this all figured out. It's already been kind of planned and put together, and you can have peace in that, because being, extremely ambitious, vainglory, I think is the King James word, that can create a lot of anxiety, and it's not good. So do your best to try to figure out that mystery. Okay, so there we go. We got that mystery. Okay, now let's move into the gospel for the day. So what do? I think I stop that screen. We start another screen. We share it. We go to the scripture readings. There we are. That is not what I tried to do. But I think I can fix it. Sort of, kind of. Oh, I can't fix it. Look what we have done. I can fix it. Okay. Going to the Gospels now. Now I just have to double check that you guys are seeing this, and you're not. Remove. Stop screen. Share screen. Sorry, guys. I'm going to get better at this, but I think we just fixed it there. Okay. So, this is the passage in Matthew chapter 5. We're still in the Sermon on the Mount. Give to anyone who asks. If someone wants to borrow, don't turn them away. You've heard it said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. That's pretty much common sense, right? But I say to you, love your enemies. Bless those who curse you. Do good to those who hate you. And pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you, that you may be sons of your Father in heaven. For he makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and he sends rain on the just and on the unjust. And he goes on with that theme. This is a crazy theme. Our motto would be love your neighbors and your friends and your family and hate your enemies. And not to get too much into a Jewish Christian dynamic, but the Jews on paper would be very much love your neighbors and family and friend or your tribe, and very much hate your enemies and kill them. So we're dealing with that dynamic right now, and it's very difficult. And Jesus was dealing with it back then, and it's our nature to be that way. So we're all dealing with it too. But Jesus says, love your enemies. It's one of the reasons they killed him. He wasn't the triumphant conquistador that they had been hoping for as a Messiah. He was very much something else, and they didn't like him, and they killed him. But interesting in the Orthodox Church, which is, hardcore and, you know, can sometimes bless defensive wars, and you got soldiers on the calendar that are saints. But that church, which can be kind of conservative and based in that way, very much emphasizes love your enemies. I hear it a lot. It's in our culture. It's hard to hear, and you don't want to do it, but you should do it. And maybe once in a while, I might end up, doing the right thing with that. Let's pull out of that. Or maybe I won't, but yeah, it's in the culture, and it's a real thing. So figure out a way to rise above the natural world and not just love your family, friends, and neighbors, but love your enemies. And then, interesting things happen. Sometimes your enemies turn around. The Apostle Paul was trying to kill the Christians, and one day, flash a light, and he's on their side. I wonder how many of the Christians in the days and weeks before the Apostle Paul converted were actually praying for him and loving him. I imagine there were a few. So, some other thoughts on that I wasn't thinking about, but I've experienced some interesting things with love your enemies. One of them is, it is true that people turn. And so if you don't completely burn the bridges, when you're in a horrible contest with your enemy, you try to love them, maybe you don't succeed too well, but at least you don't burn all the bridges down the road. People turn, and you'll find those enemies being allies. So think about that. Another one is, your enemy, the good enemy, is really trying to destroy you. But if you're loving your enemy and you're not completely throwing them under the bus, they might not try to just destroy you. They might kind of just try to make your life difficult. And so that'll turn around for you and be a blessing for you. So those are, and this third one, this one's interesting. Really interesting. We bond with the people that we're in deep conflict with. I mean, it just is what it is. But, we bond with the people we know and we hang out with and we play golf with, or we, go to church with, or sit around and have nice conversations with. Sure, we bond with them. But you could argue that even the deeper bonding happens with this person that you are deeply in contest with. You are in a battle with. It's the old trope of the two kids on the playground that are fighting each other, then they become best friends. And you see it politically, you see it in other places. So you don't want to horribly hate your enemy, because that enemy over time could become a good friend. That's weird stuff, but it's the truth. So think about that. Okay, we got saints on the calendar today. Let's look at those. And I've got to do this thing again. Let's see how well I do. Share the screen. Let's go to, it's supposed to be already up there. And because I am challenged, it's not. So, let's see if we did it. Come on. Got to go to StreamYard. And that did not work for you. I am so sorry. Let's just do it today without the visuals. I'll look at the visuals over here, and you guys can look at me. The Christian hero saint on the calendar today is Venerable Bessarion, wonder worker of Egypt. He's basically a guy who grows up to be a monastic, found some monasteries and stuff. and he was an ascetic. He took a vow of silence, and then he partook of food only once a week. Sometimes he remained without food or drink for 40 days. Once the saint stood motionless for 40 days and 40 nights without food or sleep, immersed in prayer. Okay, there you go. Looking for somebody to follow who is a good ascetic? Well, here's one. With a single word, he cast out devils, but he did this privately to avoid glory. So this guy was not out for worldly pleasure or glory. There was a guy in his church that got drummed out, got kicked out because he had fallen into sin. And so St. Bessarion also went with him, saying, I'm a sinner too. He slept only while standing or sitting. That's the last thing we got to say about St. Bessarion. By the way, he's like 3rd century, early 3rd century. He only slept while standing or sitting. I guess you can sleep while you're sitting. Can you sleep when you're standing? I've never heard of that. I guess he did. Okay, one more on the church calendar today that we'll talk about. And this is Virgin Martyrs Archelaus, Thecla, and Susanna. All right. So this is also 3rd century during the persecution of Diocletian. These 3 holy virgins dressed themselves in men's clothing and cut their hair and went to an Italian province. That was to get away from the persecution. They continued to pursue an ascetical life of fasting and prayer. They received the gift of healing, and they would help people in the area with their gift of healing. They refused to sacrifice to idols, unlike that saint yesterday who, sacrificed to the idols. He was a patriarch, and then he turned around and repented. Oh, what a schmuck. I would not have been as forgiving as everybody else was. But anyway, anybody see the movie Silence? My godson Caleb's favorite character is that little guy in there who keeps going back and forth, refusing to renounce Christ, and then renouncing Christ, and then refusing to renounce Christ and feeling sorry for it. Anyway, they refused to sacrifice to idols. And the governor was very mad and ordered that the saint, and this is Archelaus, Saint Archelaus be torn apart by hungry lions, but the beasts meekly lay at her feet. In a rage, the governor ordered the lions to be killed. He was mad at those lions who weren't eating the Christian woman like they should. And he locked the holy virgins in prison. So then the governor decided that he was going to torture them by raking them with iron utensils and pouring hot tar on the wounds. The reason I'm doing 2 saint stories today, because I didn't want to miss this one. You get a lot of this in the saint stories, so I didn't have to do this today because we'll have plenty of more opportunities. But yeah, hot iron utensils, pouring hot tar on the wounds. Pretty soon we'll get the eyes being gouged out and tongues being cut off. And Lord have mercy on us. They prayed more loudly, and a voice came and said, "Fear not, I am with you." Then the governor tried to crush them with an immense stone, and an angel pushed it to the side, and it crushed the torturers instead. A judge ordered soldiers to behead the holy virgins. A lot of these saint stories, they do all this kind of stuff to kill them and torture them, and none of it works, and they finally have to get beheaded, and that finally works. And the soldiers did not dare to put their hands upon these saints after they'd seen all that had happened. Then Saints Archelaus, Thecla, and Susanna said to the soldiers, "If you do not fulfill the command, you shall have no respect from us." And so they were beheaded in the year 293. So that is the Virgin Martyrs Archelaus, Thecla, and Susanna at Salerno. Where is Salerno? Is that like in Sicily? I'm not going to look it up now. That wouldn't be fair to you guys. Okay, let me come back to StreamYard. There we are. Okay, so we've done the scriptures of the day. We've done the saints of the day. So what are we going to do now? Now we're going to talk a little Chuck Fleischman. Chuck Fleischman. Can't even say his name. That's probably good for me in my chances. Chuck Fleischman is a 15-year incumbent I guess, pushing 16 years. I always like to mention that when he came in, there was a $14 trillion debt, and now there's a $39 trillion debt. So he's part of the problem, not part of the solution. I'm not a anti-Fleischman kind of guy. I don't have a. I mean, I oppose some of his views, but he's okay. Actually, the only encounter I've had with him, not a one-on-one or personal encounter, but just seeing him in person. I was there when he, I don't know if it was a debate, question and answer. They both gave speeches at, maybe it was the Pachyderm Club, I can't remember, but he and Robin Smith in his first run did that, and Chuck did pretty well. I was pretty impressed. And when he won, I was for Robin Smith, but I wasn't too disappointed. Chuck's okay. He's turned out to be kind of a nothing burger. Not really a great representative, doesn't get out much, refuses to debate. Very cautious, very party line, just, everything that nobody wants, which might cause me to get some votes in November. But I'm not, he's done all the right things that have been important to me as a conservative Christian. He's voted the right way on abortion and on, funding Globo Homo, I think, and that sort of stuff. But he's wrong on the Israel question. That's where I'm going to depart with. I'm going to depart with the Democrats in the election in terms of being woke and LGTB and that sort of thing. But I depart with the Republicans now on the Israel question. We've got to quit empowering this group of people, Zionists and others, that are just bombing the hell out of everybody and all their neighbors. They're not loving their neighbors. They're killing their neighbors. And especially in Gaza, they're conducting a genocide. Hey, you want to try to dispute that? Go right ahead. They're killing thousands of people, maybe hundreds of thousands of people. They're just killing them. They're killing the children. They're killing the civilians. They got all, people have rationales for it. Don't rationalize it. It's for real, and it's got to stop. And 20 years from now, you're going to look just like the Nazi sympathizers. But anyway, I digress. Here's an interesting video of Chuck talking to Palestinian protesters about his experience. Let's pull that up and watch it because it is very interesting. Should be right there. Nope. Should be right there. Yes. Very nice. Okay. Representative, let me make sure you're seeing this the right way. And you are. Okay. Are you seeing the, yeah, I think you'll see this. Representative Chuck Fleischman wants to wipe Palestine off the earth. I don't know that he said that. He may have. Let's see. Let's listen to this.
You can tell the Palestinians, I will never support
the Why do you support the genocide and all of the war crimes and collective punishment? Are you concerned about all the children?
Let me make it clear. Let me make it clear. Israel is our ally, will always be our ally.
Even if they commit war crimes?
And they are not guilty of genocide, and I will support Israel forever.
Israel will stay your ally, even though they commit
Israel
genocide.
Even that's your term.
Even
Can
when
you
they
explain?
kill,
That is your term.
even when they kill 30,000
What
kids,
they
that is a
did to the
statistic.
Israeli
That's a
people
statistic.
on October. Let me tell you a statistic.
Yeah, please.
Israel will exist. The Jewish state will exist.
That's not a
It will always
statistic.
exist,
That's not what we're.
and that is for
That
God
has absolutely
to do
nothing
and
to do with what
decide.
we're saying.
And I will
You are a
always support
supporter of
Israel.
genocide, sir. You're
I will
supporting
always
the murder
support
of
Israel,
little children.
and you can tell the Palestinians, I will
I
never
am a
support them.
Palestinian myself.
Then I will tell you, I will never support you.
Yeah?
I will tell you to your
And
face.
you want my cousins
Goodbye
to
to
die.
Palestine. Goodbye
I
to
will support
Goodbye to
Israel.
Palestine?
Goodbye
You
to
want to watch
Palestine.
Palestine?
We will support Israel forever.
So
No.
you are
I will
comfortable.
always
So just
support Israel.
FYI, this guy just said goodbye
Always
to
support
Palestine.
Yes.
Israel.
You
Okay.
so you just said goodbye to Palestine. So You are
Goodbye.
saying you are comfortable with the murder of thousands of children.
The Jewish people will never
You are
suffer
not
again
answering the
under
question.
Palestinian terrorism, under Hamas, under Hezbollah.
What about
Israel will be secure
30,000
forever.
innocent
Okay.
God bless
civilians?
Israel forever.
Thank
So
you for
you want to wipe Palestine off the earth? Yeah.
God
Yes.
bless
Yes.
Israel forever.
All right, there you go. Let's bring me back up here. A lot of things to say about that. First, let's just do a quick mini on the Israel question, because I'm sure I'll do several podcasts later down the road. Chuck seems to be of the Ted Cruz, Mike Huckabee vein that you can never criticize Israel because it says in the Bible, those who bless Israel, I will bless, and those who curse Israel, I will curse. Well, the Bible does not say that. In Genesis chapter 12, God says to Abraham, not to Israel, those who bless you, I will bless, and those who curse you, I will curse. And if you really want to get into who he is ultimately talking about and the descendants of Abraham, it's Christians and it's Jesus Christ. And Paul talks about that in Galatians 3 and other places. So anyway, first of all, so these guys, Chuck, Ted Cruz, Mike Huckabee, they got this unhinged view that you can never criticize Israel and you can never go against Israel because God says so. Well, God does not say so. And we got to get off that, guys. Got to get off of it. Come on. Secondly, God kicked Israel out of the land several times for being disobedient. They had to wait 40 years when they first got there because they were disobedient. And they finally got to go into the land. Then Nebuchadnezzar came and kicked them out, dragged them into Babylon because they were sinful and unrepentant. And then Jesus condemned them and then ultimately predicted the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple in AD 70 because they were unrepentant. They were sinful. So they don't get to be in the land if they're unrepentant and sinful, which they are. They're the number one proponent of LGTB in the world. And they're killing everybody and they're genociding other people. And they just are not doing good things and they do not deserve the land, even if they were actually the nation of Israel, which they're probably not. But I'm just giving you biblical arguments because that's where people are. Got to get off this ledge, guys. Anyway, that's the Israel question. Now, Chuck, even if he holds those views, which he clearly does, he needs to have a little better bedside manner. The guy's unhinged. The guy doesn't seem to be able to handle confrontation. He needs to act like a statesman, graciously walk through the hall while people are berating him and just saying, thank you. We disagree. We'll have to agree to disagree. And walk into the elevator and smile and say thank you. Wonder why the people didn't go into the elevator with him. I wonder if there was some kind of legal thing that caused them not to do that. That wasn't a good showing from Chuck, even with his bad views. Probably Ted Cruz and probably most certainly Mike Huckabee. I mean, who knows? But I don't think either of them would have acted like that. I disagree with their views now. I used to be a big Mike Huckabee advocate. I actually helped campaign for him in 2008 for presidency. But anyway, they probably wouldn't have done that. Chuck acted really the fool here and not statesmanlike. Not a guy you want to have as your congressman. Just be honest with you. A little bit unhinged, a little bit insecure, a little bit untethered. I'm sure I'll show this video a few times before the congressional election actually arrives. Haven't met Chuck yet. I hope to during this election. This will probably happen. I got nothing against him personally. I really don't. He doesn't debate, so we probably won't get to do a debate. Maybe we will. And if he wants to come on my podcast and have an interaction, I would be more than happy to do that. I got to get a little better. I'm still working out the kinks here, but I'm going to probably start bringing in guests maybe next week, maybe the week after. both online, which is going to be easier to do, and then I want to have guests here in my studio, which it's a little trickier, but I've been ordering their equipment. I'm getting there. By the way, I have better Wi-Fi now. Kind of jerry rigged my own home Wi-Fi and brought a cord into my studio, and I think we're rocking and rolling. Yesterday I had some glitches and some blackouts, and nothing like that now. It's just a smooth machine. Okay, let's check for comments. Thanks, says George. Well, you're dang welcome, George. Dean, what do you think about Trump holding a UFC event? Let's bring it up. Dean, what do you think about Trump holding a UFC event at the White House? I haven't read much about that. I guess I've seen some brief pictures and that sort of thing. What do I think about it? Oh God, there's a lot of things to think about that. Well, Trump is I'm off the Trump train. I'm not happy with Trump, and he and I have departed ways. When he endorsed Lindsey Graham and condemned Thomas Massie, that was the beginning of the end, or the end of the end. But Trump is a genius. Trump is a marketing genius, and Trump is a genius in terms of understanding the sentiments of the people. UFC is very popular, and him bringing UFC to the White House is probably pretty darn smart. So let's start with that. Is it somewhat below the dignity of the White House? Probably, but that ship sailed a long time ago. What else? What else we want to think about the UFC event? I don't know. I don't know much about UFC, but presidents in golf has been a thing for a long time, and nobody considered that undignified. Presidents in UFC, yeah, maybe a little bit undignified, but I don't think it's that big a deal. I certainly don't think it's something we ought to be thinking about much. If you've been listening to my podcast, step away from the media. If all they got to talk about is UFC at the White House, man, we got lots of better things to think about and meditate on. So I would say just keep scrolling, move along, find something else to spend your time with thinking about. Slow news days for CNN and Fox. They got to talk about UFC at the White House. Be a tough job, wouldn't it? Okay, thank you for those comments. I'll take more comments if I can get them. I'm running for Congress. You can give to my campaign. I need money. DeanArnoldForCongress.com. I got $1,000 check from a guy who just gave it to me unsolicited. I need about 4 more of those to do the online marketing I need to do with this podcast to get name recognition in District 3. So please send me more money, but $25 donations will make an impact too. So please do that. Bring insanity to an insane world, according to my notes here. And today's June 6th, and we have done June 6 things. And I think we've had a darn good podcast. The cigar hasn't stayed greatly lit. I'm going to have to find a brand of cigars that doesn't go out of me during my podcast. But I think we're doing good here, and I think we've had a good session. Let's bring out the music and call it a day. I probably forgot to say something, but I don't know what it was.
Dean Arnold.